Hello again. It has been a while since I've posted any significant vlogs, and there's a reason to that. The Canon 70D I had is basically 18 months old, and it has been used on an ad hoc manner to make these YouTube videos, less so as a stills camera, but mostly for the video, thanks to the dual pixel AF. And the result is the shutter count is, the last time I checked, something around 1,600, which is excellent, to the point someone would consider it as almost a brand new camera. So a couple of weeks back I was heading down south. I had just received the new Pelican cases, and the 70D was packed along for the trip, and I took it out of the Pelican case, put it into live view mode, and the CMOS sensor basically showed a picture of what looked like vertical stripes in various tones of cream and browns and white and various shades, but it was vertical streaks running down. Even the snaps I took would basically revert back that kind of streaky image. And in live view mode I could control the microphone, and it did shut down with the error code 80, but at certain times it would just still run, and you could view images, etc., but just that it couldn't record. And so I've sent it to Canon Singapore, and they've come back with an estimation of saying it's a serious fault with the CMOS sensor assembly unit, and they want something around £400 to replace the CMOS sensor, which is around $500 US, 530. And to be honest, that's pretty much the price of a second-hand 70D. So I've called up Canon today. It's easily been over about a month since it's been gone, and so I called Canon up today and I said, hey, I've owned so many Canon cameras and lenses, see if you can replace this free of charge, or at least give me a serious discount on the replacement. But even if they do repair and replace it, it's ultimately not something I'd have expected, considering there are lower end Rebel TIs that are being bashed and dropped, and the stuff that Casey Neistat does to his stuff, for example. My cameras are relatively unused, if you were to kind of compare the kind of abuse he puts his equipment through. And so I'm at the moment just contemplating buying an 80D. I've considered going for the GH4, the Lumix GH4, with that does 4K, but it would need a Metabones adapter, and all in all that comes to around 1,700 US. But I'm not entirely sure I'm keen on jumping to Lumix again. I've owned one Lumix before, and so for the 70D 80D setup has been quite great, and from a couple of reviews I've checked, the 80D has far better build quality. It's finally weather sealed, which is impressive, and so therefore I'm hoping the 80D will last much longer than 18 months. So I'm hoping to pick it up tomorrow, maybe sometime in the afternoon, evening. I've got a couple of things to sort out in the day. And in other news, I've been getting back into some of my electronics. As per the last video I posted, on doing some Internet of Things stuff with an ESP8266 from Espressif, and that, well, what I was trying to do, I was trying to solve a personal problem to do with humidity and camera equipment and storage. You can see where I'm going with this. And that's just a personal side project, but the bigger picture has led me to formalize a startup around this aspect. I don't want to say too much about it right now. I'm at the moment speaking with some major players in the field, let's put it in the enterprise field, an industry here in Sri Lanka, and my aim is to pitch this solution to emerging markets in Asia. Not so much the US, because there are already key players in a couple segments, and since we're aiming to service Asian customers, pricing would be priced accordingly, most importantly. So that's been occupying a fair bit of my time, and I've also received a couple more small bits from B&H. If you were to go through all my most recent vlogs, you'll see I've got a lot of stuff from B&H, but I didn't cover, I think, about 2 or 3 shipments, which basically constitute the last few shipments from B&H. So one shipment was basically all the bits and bobs that was shown in the last video, and that shipment actually was broken up into a couple parts because something wasn't in stock. The 2 items that I basically ordered was, one was called an edge router by Ubiquiti Networks. Just checking that we have time, which is a slight aside. The D810 records 1080p at 30 frames per second for 20 minutes rather than 29.59 minutes. I need to see why. But yeah, so it's from Ubiquiti Networks, something called a tough switch, which is a managed PoE gigabit switch, and something called an edge router X, which is the model, is ER-X, is the model I went for, and that's basically a managed router, also with passive PoE pass-through. So what's PoE? PoE means power over Ethernet. You can basically power any devices from the router onward, and inclusive of the router, by the way, using the Ethernet cables that are routed within your walls, essentially. So you don't have to have multiple AC bricks or transformers or wall warts. So they're mostly all switch mode power supplies, essentially, scattered throughout your plan, your build, or your space where you have all your networking equipment installed. So I was looking to revamp my home network. I run a 40 terabyte NAS. I've got a pretty serious workstation, and so what I've done is I've at the moment used the edge router and made it the primary router in my network. So I basically have my LTE connection, which is the internet connection coming in, is 4G LTE, and then I have the edge router, and from that point onward I have several other devices for my network. Because I have basically a split network system going on here, I cannot use the tough switch right now because I need to order a second edge router, and the reason there is because I will be having the first subnet served by the first router will be more or less the public network within the house, and the second router will be a private secured subnet, and that's where the second edge router and tough switch will come to play. because I can then create VLANs, which are called virtual LANs, from that secure private space. And that way I will move my NAS and workstations into the private area, leaving the public side for guest access, all the phones and media consuming devices, and the home theater and that kind of stuff. I just want to have an additional layer of security around my mission critical stuff, essentially. And so those are the advances I've made in terms of revamping the network. And another component that was left out from one of the B&H orders was my travel tripod solution, and I ended up ordering a three-legged thing, Leo carbon fiber tripod. Now I don't want to comment too much on it right now. I suggest you go and look at Tony Northrup's channel, where he posted a video yesterday where he's compared the B-Free to the three-legged thing, Leo. His review is not a review, it's a subjective take on how the crew struggled in using the three-legged thing. That's essentially what that video is, even though they titled it as a review. And there were a lot of general points made in the direction of twist locks, what are called friction locks, where you basically twist rather have the lever action, that were made in a general sense, but some of them were also made potentially out of context to a certain degree. I want to address some of these points in another video this weekend. So I'm planning to tackle those points once I get the ATD tomorrow, because I've also revamped a space in our front upper balcony, just for relaxing outside and for making it more a space in which I do these YouTube videos more often. So stay tuned. I will be working on this tomorrow, and then another chap on IRC in the Photo Geeks channel on Freenode. Please join us, it's a really good channel. Commented on my channel and said that he would like to see more gear related videos. And when I said what does he mean by gear, he said anything and all gear. So tech, meaning computers and stuff, and camera stuff. And I said, I'm going to split up into those two categories. I don't want to mix up cameras and computers together in the same video necessarily. I don't know. And he wanted to see more stuff about the pens, my fountain pens, which, as most of you probably noticed, I've not made any videos in a long time, and there have been some new additions, although the collection has more or less remained the same, because I've come to a point where I have more fountain pens than I need, but I do use a whole lot of them. So I thought I'm going to touch on that in a separate video. And so I think I'm going to wrap things up at this point, and I'll get back to you hopefully sometime tomorrow. And yes, hit like, subscribe, share your thoughts, maybe go through some of my past videos, tell me what you like, what you don't, and most importantly, try and get involved and tell me what it is you would like to see, what it is you may want to ask me. Would you like a live cast sometime? I don't know if anybody would want to even come on the live cast and ask me questions, but if there's something that might interest you guys, let me know. I'm pretty knowledgeable on things like electronics, programming in Ruby, cloud platforms, DevOps, Linux, I'm technically very much a geek in terms of programming and computing. That's my passion and hobby. And then of course I do have interests in collecting watches, fountain pens, photography, stuff like that. I'm very much into my high-end audio equipment, listen to music, and I really spend a lot of time enjoying my home theater, even though it's also getting on in its age. So yeah, feel free to ask me anything, and I will follow up tomorrow. Until then, see you. Peace out.